Hey, friends and family, guys and girls, YouTube, Periscope, Facebook community, Twitter followers. I am Josh Levin, and this is this week's Wrist Talk. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for commenting. Really appreciate it. Wrist Talks is where I try to show you a perspective of at-risk young adults each week. I say at-risk with little squishy fingers. I guess that's parentheses, that's not squishy fingers. I try to give you a perspective of at-risk young adults each week at risk, because typically the situations and the things that make someone at risk have little to nothing to do with what they've done. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate, sorry if you're watching this not on Periscope, I'm commenting. Thank you that you're excited about this. I'm excited because we get to look through the eyes of kids that grow up in a situation that they didn't choose. Maybe parents they didn't want, situations they find themselves in that are tough, that are rough, that are beating them down. And what we realize is that it's very common between us and them. So this week we got to go and share, a guest speaker shared a message, and literally I don't know if for fear of the kids' looks or whatever, but he threw the script out and he said the question, "What's on your mind?" It's such a weird question, but I'm so glad he asked it, because I'm sure you've been in that like business meeting, right, where they say, "Hey Justin, what's on your mind?" And you're like, well, crap, what was on my mind right now was how to do the whip and the nae-nae. And I was practicing my Gangnam Style dance, and you like woke me up out of my daydream. Or, "Susan, what are your thoughts?" And it's just, you're kind of in this panic of, well, crap, I got to come up with something valuable to say. Maybe you're not in that situation. Maybe what you've thought when someone said, "Hey, what's on your mind?" is, "Hey, is this a safe place to be honest? Can I really tell them what I'm thinking, my fears, my doubts? Can I really bare my souls?" And fight or flight kicks in, and honestly, I think most of the time we don't say what's really on our mind. We don't ask the questions. Luckily tonight, these kids, ages 12 to 17, just are ballsy, and they did not hesitate. They raised their hand and they just started talking. They just started saying, "Hey man, am I too far gone? Have I screwed up too much that people are going to give up on me, that God doesn't care about me? I mean, I pray and I don't hear anything. Is it all over for me?" They were real and honest questions, and I think that the reason that they were able to say that is because they felt safe. They felt loved. They felt respected. And so I don't know where you find yourself. Maybe you deal with a lot of doubts, a lot of questions, a lot of fears. Maybe you just lost your job. Maybe you don't know where you're going in life. Maybe your marriage is on the rocks. Maybe you've been abused in your past. You're dealing with addictions. You're dealing with gambling. There's things that are falling apart in your life, and the only reason they're not is because you are white knuckling them to death. You will never tell another soul. You will claw on that mountain until you die before asking for help. If these kids can teach us anything, don't freaking do that. Life is too short to white knuckle and bite your lips and cause so much extra stress on yourself and other people. Be the person that raises their hand and asks for help. To says, "Hey, this addiction is taking over. Hey, this conflict, I can't do it. Hey, bills are stacking up too high." And I know to do that, you have to find a safe place. Unfortunately, probably a lot of us don't have safe places, don't have good friends that we can turn to, or things like that. If that's the case, man, I'm really, really sorry. If you don't have people in your life, a support group, a church, friends, family, anything like that, please don't turn to Facebook, right? I think it usually can suck. People are really, really rude and really, really mean. I actually had my first troll. What up? I posted a thing on a YouTube channel, comment story, if you haven't checked it out, about racism, and I got blasted for saying I had white guilt or something like that. And it was honestly kind of fun. But don't look for help there. You could look for help at To Write Love on Her Arm. It's a nonprofit organization. To Write TWLOHA.com is a really good one. And there's another organization called SCAD Inc., and I think it's Steal, Kill, and Destroy. talkep2.com. They're two really great organizations that if going to a support group, going to a church, talking to friends or family is scary to you, start there. Let that be the first step of courage you take to raise your hand and ask for help. The thing is man, too many people have been sexually abused and not talked about it. Too many people know what it feels like to be neglected, to be overlooked, to deal with hurt and pain by just burying it. Don't bury it, man. These kids were eager and willing to raise their hands. Turn to Josh, he's the man. No. That's another thing they said. They said I had a savior complex. That guy that told me I had white guilt. Because the truth is, man, is nobody's going to really be able to fix you in that sense of like solve all your problems. Like life is hard, but it's worth fighting, man. Don't give up. I actually had a phone call this week of a friend of mine who called it quits. He committed suicide. And I don't know what brought him to that point where he said, hey, man, it was no longer worth it. I had bare-knuckled it, and honestly, he had a really bad drug addiction, a pill addiction. And I share this story not to discredit him, okay? So please don't hear that. But one of the last times I ever got to spend with him, I was painting in a house. I was a residential painter. And while I was painting, I heard him talking to himself, and this is what he was saying. What the is wrong with me? How could I screw up this bad? If you're saying those types of things to yourself in the shower, in your bed at night, anywhere, please reach out. That's all I have for this week. Risk Talks. You can view this video, share it, like it, add questions, comments, concerns. Tell me how to get better, what I can add. You can find me on Facebook at Joshua B. Levin or on YouTube at Common Story. It's a channel where I post these things. Man, have a great week. Don't white knuckle it. You're not weak for asking for help. You're human. Have a great night.